Welcome in everyone to the Bama Standard post game show. Before we get started, I want you to go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Get in the comment section if you are watching the replay. But if you are on the show with us live tonight, we need you in that live chat telling us everything that you're thinking, feeling, because we're going to be addressing it all. But as always, we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions and Oakmont Financial Partners LLC. I'm your host, Justin Riley, and with me, as always, is a living legend who makes doing this show worthwhile. Coach Smook, welcome in, brother.
What's up, man? Let's take a
What?
deep breath first. Hold on. Let's do this together. Breathe in. Let it out. Okay.
All right.
All right.
It didn't help because I'm still pissed smooth off.
Me too, bro. I thought it was gonna help, but it didn't help. So let's get into it, man. What you
Man,
got for me,
we
bro?
got a lot to talk about. I mean, there's a lot of glaring things that we saw tonight. Things that Alabama did to themselves, things that were done to them. Referees, we already have it in the chat. That's one of the things that's there already. And I don't know where to really start. I mean, there's a whole myriad of things we can talk about. But let's go ahead and talk about the penalties. Penalties. 17 penalties tonight. School record, actually. If you're going to set a record, I mean, might as well go big. 17
Might
of
as
them.
well go big, right?
Yeah,
You said it.
17, and gave up 52 points. When you do that, you spot a team 21 points out the gate. You got to set up for success, man.
Man, let me tell you, Justin. And I'm glad you hit penalties first because that literally was the focal point of the game. Could we minimize our penalties to give ourselves a chance? We knew Tennessee had a high-powered offense. Right. Had they been tested defensively all year? I don't think so. So we were going to be their first defensive test, but offensively, we knew they were legit. We knew what Hendon Hooker was. We knew that he had viable weapons on that side of the ball. Their offensive line was not great. They just had great game planning to not allow their offensive line's weaknesses be exposed. So you look at the type of play calling we had on the defensive side early in the game. Me personally, Pete Golden, I wanted to see pressure from the jump. You put pressure on that offensive line who hasn't been tested. He gave them too many easy looks for them to just pass off the 3 and 4 man pressure that we were sending. And then we're still playing Henry Toa majority of the game when he's clearly not the option, guys. It's like I said, it's okay to be the smartest guy on the field. It's okay. But when you cannot follow it up with your actions, when you cannot follow it up with production, meaning tackles in the backfield when you have the opportunity, meaning shedding blocks before they get to the second level within that 3 to 5 yard downfield radius from the line of scrimmage. This guy's not physical enough to lead Alabama defense, not to lead a SEC defense. No, and if you want to be honest, go ahead.
I was gonna say I'm gonna cut you off and let you get back to it. Tennessee knew where to go. Where was that? Right up the middle.
Arnold and in the middle. Like it was literally there was their only two options. Arnold and in the middle. And guess who's this?
The running too. Hendon Hooker.
Yeah.
I just forgot the running back for Tennessee's name. You had to forgive me.
Big Smalls.
Biggie Smalls.
I call him Biggie Smalls. Yeah,
because that's what he did. Not just small, right? As well. I mean, pick your poison, right? Hooker, Small. They just carved it up. They had no pressure. No, they didn't break a sweat. I think Hendon Hooker had only one sack tonight, thanks to DJ Dale. But for the most part, man, that jersey was fresh and clean, man. No stress, no worries whatsoever, no adjustments. Mr. Golden's over there calling a soft zone all night. Wasn't attacking for nothing. Tennessee was attacking. They were sending 5, sometimes 6 guys. They knew the assignment. What were we doing? We're playing 2-hand touch, playing flag football.
7-on-7, like one of my guys was saying in the chat. Are we that sold on 7-on-7 being the new trend that we're allowing it to transpire onto the field? And league play and conference play, like, yeah, Tennessee is in the East. This doesn't necessarily affect our chances to get in the playoff or the SEC championship game, but teams are going to use that. Mississippi State, who runs air raid offense, is going to use that.
It's
Ole Miss,
virtually the same.
I
But
mean,
you say it doesn't affect us because we're in the West, but it actually does because, like you said, they can use this as the blueprint going forward. Next week, we have Mississippi State, Will Rogers, and the air raid offense. And there is no drop off from Hendon Hooker to Will Rogers. They have one of the best offensive lines too, man. If you haven't been watching Mississippi State, their
you're going to
offensive
be
line
surprised.
has been giving Will Rogers anywhere from 4 to 6 seconds time to pick where he wants to put it. He just names his spot. It's going to go there. But not
Right.
only Will Rogers, man, after LSU, we're headed to Oxford. We're headed to Lane Kiffin. Now I know the Ole Miss has been inconsistent this year, but the thing is, man, they're starting to figure some things out. And you better believe that Lane Kiffin is going to have everything figured out and working right come time for us to go to Oxford. And he has more than just some simple air raid offense. He is able to find the mismatches and exploit you. And he'll continue to find more and more ways to exploit you. So it's not just running an air raid, it's about breaking you down. And if we don't get this stuff figured out, even though we're 7 games in and we should have to have it figured out, I said it before, go ahead and get your tickets to the Gator Bowl because we ain't going to see the playoff.
We're not. You know what's crazy? A comment just came up. Bama fans, 6-0. Bama fans are at the mercy of those incompetent personnel. Coach Saban failed to reevaluate them last week. Time to make changes, Coach Saban. You are absolutely right. Because, like I said, from week 1, week 2, personnel in our sets is an issue on both sides of the ball. Bill O'Brien, how are you not using JoJo Earl? How are you not using Isaiah Bonds and a Kendrick Law? Those guys are creating space. We keep complaining about wide receivers not creating space, but look at who you have in your lineup. You have 2 big wide receivers, strong wide receivers in Ja'Cory Brooks and Trayshawn Holden, who failed me tremendously tonight. Holden failed us tremendously tonight. Even the catch he made late in the game, that's a routine catch you're supposed to make. You don't get credit for that. You dropped a wide open pass early in the game that could have sucked the life out of that stadium because we were in a horrible deficit. We had a bad penalty call against us that pushed us back, and you had a wide open pass across the middle. These DBs were not tackling. They were shoestring tackling their tails off tonight. They were not tackling. Hody, if Brooks can break those tackles, you're breaking those tackles because I've seen you run through tackles. I've seen you protect the ball after the catch. You make that catch, that's a great momentum shift. And the game changes, the whole spectrum of the game changes. But you talk about penalties. I think the penalties weigh more on these guys' heads on the defensive side than the offensive side because every time a DB touched a wide receiver, I don't care if it was I remember one time Arnold should have had a PI called against him because he was so scared that he started grabbing, and he couldn't even grab the wide receiver. He couldn't even grab him. But Hooker overthrew the ball. Me personally, as a ref, I'm calling that PI because he impeded the wide receiver, but he got off on it. That's how bad the calls were. The players get so caught up in their head. They get so in their head trying not to get the call on them that they forget to play football. Me as a coach, T-Rob, Coach Saban, whoever's giving these DBs they're coaching up on the sideline, I'm telling them to play football, and we live with the calls. Stop getting beat. I never in my time of playing or in my time of coaching in this will be 5 years that I've been coaching at a high school level, I have never seen any DB coach that coached against me in practice or that was on the other side of the ball that coached the DBs leave a safety out there that didn't understand over the top containment. Before run support, as a safety, your job is keep everything in front of you. I don't care what defense you're running. If you're a safety, if your assignment is over the top, everything is in front of you. Helms, you're not a linebacker. Your first read is not run. Allow your linebackers and your defensive linemen to hold up that first run read, and then you move in. This guy commits to the run before he checks his number 2, the inside to outside assignment that he has, and that's what's killing us. So kudos to Josh Heupel and his offensive coordinator for recognizing that, because they attacked it consistently every drive. They threw something at our safety to make him look in the backfield for those 2 seconds that he was flat-footed. Instead of doing his drop back first and checking in the backfield, he's literally standing flat-footed off the snap and looking in the backfield. And that's all you need for a wide receiver. Win at the line in 2 seconds. You
I think we lost Coach Mook for just a second. Hey, you back with us? You actually went mute on us, actually. But in regards to penalties, I've already seen this in the chat. Yeah, we're all tired of it because this has been an unchanging constant the past several years. You can blame the players, but I had to point at the coaching staff. This is something that is basic. You don't have to coach up something. You don't have to teach scheme. You don't have to have a 4-star athlete, a 5-star athlete, an elite person to be able to figure this out. It's a discipline issue. 17 penalties, guys. We had 9 penalties in the first quarter alone. In one quarter. Tennessee in the first half had 2. And then in the second half, we have 8 penalties to Tennessee's 2. There's no excuse for that at all. I'm sorry. If you give up 17 penalties, you deserve to lose. Were the refs making bad calls? Absolutely. Yes. All night. Were they missing calls? Absolutely all night. Some of the most notable missed roughing the passer penalties.
Right.
Targeting penalties. One that was obviously blatant. Everybody in the world saw. There's no denying that it's targeting. They wave it off. I get it, but the thing is, though, you shouldn't be in a position to where a penalty makes a difference in the outcome of a game. 52 points.
My point.
52 guys. Yeah, everybody wants to see that we're playing the refs. We're not just playing the refs. Like Coach Mook said, they're wide receivers torching our secondary. Matter of fact, after the show's over, I'm going to go visit them with the special the burn victims unit.
Right. We need to go do some treatment right now.
Hyatt has 6 receptions for 207 yards and 5 touchdowns. You know what? He don't have to play another down the rest of this season because he just got a first-round draft spot.
First round. Of that. First round
there's
against
no excuse
Alabama.
For this stuff, man.
Oh my God, this is, and Justin, I don't usually get, like, for the past 2 or 3 years, I haven't been emotionally tied into these games because I see the changes. I see everybody else catching up in recruiting. I see the play calling starting to, change, like, across the board. But when you're talking about a GOAT and Nick Saban, who's always been able to either keep up or stay ahead of the trend, to see the type of coaching being displayed that we have been seeing the last 2 years is unacceptable when you've set a standard for 14 years, with the type of coaching that you demanded, the level of coaching that you demanded from your coordinators. Pete Golden gets bailed out by athleticism so much, but at some point you got to make these athletes be dogs. You got to make these athletes be accountable. They have to be accountable. Helm should not have been out there after the second time he gave up an over the top look, because they didn't go over top the battle side and Kool-Aid side. They only targeted Arnold and Helms. The only time they would target the over the top was when they had Helms and Arnold on the same side.
I'm gonna bring something up, and I said this before. Not only on with Bill O'Brien, but Pete Gold. I'll say this to Pete Golding as well. You're absolutely right. Where it's becoming a more level playing field across the board, it is. People are catching up, And how we've been able to win here as of late, like you said, we've been able to out athlete everyone. And and it's not because of Pete Golden, it's not because of Bill O'Brien. It's because the athletes have been able to use their elite ability because they were better than the person across of them. But it's getting to the point to where it's not going to work anymore, and it's going to catch up with you. And if you look at this season, man, we've gotten away with a lot.
A
We
lot.
have skated by on a lot of negativity, but because we had better athletes, we were able to overcome that, and we were able to beat them. But we go up against an elite team like a Tennessee, you see what happens. And people want to talk
You
about
see this
how great of a
comment?
people want to talk about how elite of a defense Pete Golden had coming into this game. Okay, this and then last year, oh, he got better in the last part of last year. Okay, last year, the majority of the last half of the season. Tell me where the offenses that we played against were ranked nationally. The highest we played was ranked in the 50s. If you don't have a good outing defensively against the 50th ranked team being your ceiling, then something's
You
wrong
don't
with you.
deserve it.
And this season, we we got damn lucky that when Quinn Ewers went out. He goes out and we're playing mediocre offenses at best until Tennessee tonight. And that's how we're able to have good stats. That's how we're able to have all these sacks, quarterback pressures, allowing single digit points per game. No, we went to the house where the big boys play. And I'll give credit to Hendon Hooker and that offense. They're the real deal. Man, I saw it this entire
tell
season.
You, the difference between Hendon Hooker and the previous quarterbacks that we played, he has such a trust in his offensive coordinator and the play calling that's given to him, because they do not put that guy in positions to. We're timing. They can't. Are we back?
You're back. I've been here the whole time.
But yeah, they did not put Hooker in positions where he was uncomfortable the whole game. Even when we got pressure, even when we caused negative plays on him, he was comfortable the whole night. And it's a lot of times where you see Bill O'Brien sending plays out there in momentum time. Like we literally have the momentum, and we're sitting there hesitating at the offensive line, in the backfield. We're hesitating on play calls because guys are not comfortable with the play call, and it showed. So again, my blame goes to the OC not using his strengths. My thing is Gibbs and McClellan were, and the O-line, they were moving the ball for us tonight. And we are playing a fast-paced offense. Everybody knows the best way to beat a fast-paced, efficient offense is to keep the ball out of their hands. How do you do that? You milk the clock on you with your offense. And we had the ability to do that. We were breaking 6 and 8 yard runs on second and third down with just straight dive scheme or stretch scheme or counter scheme. Like I saw a counter scheme work to perfection when Seth McLaughlin pulled, and Jahmyr Gibbs was able to make the read. He didn't have to bounce outside. He cut right back inside where everybody was being sealed off, and the lane opened up for him so many times. Why didn't we go back to that on the last drive of the game? Tennessee didn't change up their defense at all tonight. Tennessee stuck with what they knew, and they were fine with getting beat on some plays because they knew that's what they are. That's all they had to bring. They didn't put their guys in positions to do this fancy, twist and stunts up on the front. They were really relying on keeping everything in front of them and guys making tackles, running to the ball together and making tackles. That's what they relied on tonight, and it paid off for them in the long run. And at one point, it wasn't paying off. At one point, we really had the edge, but we got away from what was working. Once again, just like Pete Golden, he got away from what was working. As long as we left Helms up top with overtop responsibility, that offense could not move the ball. They would get us underneath 3 and 4 yards, but when it was time for them to run the ball, they could not run against our front 6. They could not run against our front 7. And yeah, they broke for 3 or 4 runs throughout the game. You expect that. It's supposed to happen. It's supposed to happen, but you don't give up on it. Pete Golden and Bill O'Brien, they're making the play calls they're making because they don't have a head coach holding them accountable. And we have to start looking at, is Nick Saban really Joe Pa us right now? Is he going to Joe Pa Penn State us? You get what I'm saying? Is he really just going to sit there and hold a spot because he's been that great of a coach? Is he riding on something that's been instead of continuing to evolve? And there's nothing against that. You know, everybody has their time. The sun sets on every day. The sun sets, and maybe, and I'm not giving up on Saban. No, I don't want any fans to sit here and be like, oh, he's criticizing Saban. But he's the head coach of one of the greatest programs. He developed this. He set this standard. So when things start to not look like what he set the standard to be, it's you that's in control, Saban. What are you allowing to happen inside those locker rooms, inside those meetings that's changing and that's not allowing us to be effective when we have the top athletes based off recruiting, with all the 5 stars and all this stuff, that the credit we give them, we have the top athletes on both sides of the ball, but we're not producing in games where we literally have the best athletes.
Right.
It's a question that needs to be asked.
But Coach Smoke, and I don't mean to cut you off. We can criticize Nick Saban. He's not untouchable. And I know all these little Walmart, Alabama fans. And yes, I said it again. The people who want to get pissed off in the comments like they did last week when I said that. You know what? You understand football. We can criticize anybody, okay? We pay the salary. We do. So we can do that. If he's starting to do things differently to where it's starting to be kind of a detriment, then we need to pay attention to that. Now, listen, I get that he's at the point of his career where he wants to be more of a CEO instead of just being down in the dirt with them and like he was when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't turn the reins over to some incompetent people to run your business.
And they have no resume.
I'm going to call it what it is. It feels like we got our coordinators off of Craigslist responding to a job search. I'm all for him being a CEO and delegating if you have somebody who's competent like a Lane Kiffin running your offense. A Steve Sarkisian running your offense. What's the coach's name at Maryland right now?
Loxley.
Yeah, Mike Loxley calling your offense. Brian Daboll calling your offense. And then on the defensive side of the ball, Jeremy Pruitt or Kirby Smart. Heck, even Tosh LaPoy was better than this.
Where's Jeremy Pruitt at right now? I'm about to text him.
He's actually with the Giants right now.
Well, he needs to get out of the NFL and come back home because Golden and if we've never seen our coordinators show their true colors, tonight they showed them. And I mean, we're talking about the highs and the lows. There were points where Bill O'Brien, I felt like he was so in tune with his personnel because you had Gibbs running up the middle.
He has an epiphany every now and then, Coach Smook, but it doesn't last.
It doesn't last, and that's what the issue.
I mean, shoot, because the sun shines on a dog's butt every now and then.
Every now and then, but you got to think. Look at what Sarkisian did with Jalen Hurts. When Jalen Hurts wasn't able to make the downfield passes, he put the ball and the pressure on Jalen Hurts. What are you comfortable with? Now is your chance. I'm not going to lose this game for us, Jalen. You say you ain't good with the drop back. Guess what? I'm not going to give you drop backs no more. We're going to roll you out. We're going to get you off platform. We're going to give you a chance to use your legs every time you grab the ball. Every time we snap the ball, we're going to give you a chance. I haven't seen Bill O'Brien do that for Bryce yet. Since he's been there since last season.
This call is Bryce. What Bryce is doing is not because of Bill O'Brien. So all these people who want to throw the argument up that he won the Heisman Trophy last year and got to the national championship because of Bill O'Brien. No, that's BS.
Bryce.
Bryce got there because of Bryce, and because he is an elite quarterback. He's an elite quarterback. He can overcome deficiencies from an incompetent offensive coordinator. Last year, we got to the national championship because of Bryce and elite receiver play in Jamison Williams and John Mechie. They were elite.
Henry Lewis.
And were able to overcome the stupidity for some of these play calling.
You see
And
Henry Lewis's comment, brother. I don't mean
I
to
do.
cut you off, but
I actually need to get to some people here in the chat. Inquisitive Prince, I've been holding you for a while in this comment here. Alabama used to be wide receiver university. Now it's dropped pass by wide receivers university. Couldn't agree more. And the thing is, I have to admit, yeah, as Alabama fans, I think we got kind of spoiled because of what we experienced with Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Judy, and Amari Cooper, and all those. We had arguably the greatest wide receiver groups probably in the history of college football. So we kind
for
of
about three,
expect,
4 years.
yeah. So we kind of expected that as the standard. But the thing is, that's an exception, not the rule. But the
Right.
thing is, though, that being said, you still should be having issues with constant drop passes from, especially from upperclassmen, and
Mm.
constant not being able to separate yourselves in routes.
Mm.
You are
Call their names out.
upperclassmen.
You want to do it so bad. Say their names. Say their
Jermaine
names.
Burton, for one. You know what? At
Thank you.
at one point today, I forgot he played for the team until he had that drop pass. What was it, late in the second half?
I
Yeah, I
mean,
forgot.
a clear drop. I mean, Bryce puts it on the money, and you let it touch your hands, hit your knees, and the ground, and then get up and act like you didn't know it hit the ground. Like, bro, get off the field right now. And then you turn around and you put Isaiah Bonds in a worse, like Bryce Young puts a perfect pass in a tight spot, and this true freshman, makes this over the shoulder catch, and you still allowing Burton to get those reps over this freshman in a crunch time moment. Kendrick Law beating his man off the line every time he was in the game. Kendrick Law, I can't wait to see that kid get on the field. I don't know what's wrong with Aaron Anderson. I don't know what's wrong with Tyler Harrell, but clearly the speed is sitting on the bench.
Great point. Great point, Coach Smoke. And if y'all didn't tune into the TDA postgame show, then you missed a little rant I went on. Is Tyler Harrell at this point a real person, or are we getting catfished? Because we've been hearing since last off season of how great he was, how fast he is, 4.18 speed. We hadn't seen speed like that since Deion Sanders and Joey Galloway. Where is he? He hadn't touched the field. Are we getting catfished? Is this the same guy who catfished Manti Te'o? Because we see no hint or of this guy whatsoever. But still, we've got some speed guys out there. Isaiah Bond, like Coach Smook mentioned, Kobe Prentice, Aaron Anderson. Where's the first jet sweep? Where is it?
We have yet to see one. You got a guy like Isaiah Bonds, who literally, you remember, what was that? Did his play get called back, or what? Who was it? Their play got called back. The speed, Jahmyr Gibbs. Even give me a jet sweep with Jahmyr Gibbs. If you gonna put Jace in the backfield and give Gibbs split plays, put him in the jet sweep. Give him the ball on the jet sweep, because the kid can play. He toys around with defenders with his speed. He has such great change of pace speed, man. And when you talking about hands, Ja'Cory Brooks, I think we don't give him enough credit. Yeah, he makes some mental mistakes, but Ja'Cory Brooks, when you talking about making plays in the clutch, that guy shows up every time.
He does.
Every time. He doesn't need to be splitting any more reps with Holden, because that's the position he's splitting reps with. I don't see why there's no more. If you're going to split reps with Holden, Holden has drop passes every game. Every game. Latu showed up tonight, but he has drop passes every game.
I need to get some fire in his ass when it comes to blocking, though. He can catch a ball, but when it comes to blocking for people, forget it.
Yeah.
And also you people who are trashing on Jahmyr Gibbs, dropping that pass across the middle late in the game. Shame on you.
That was a smart drop.
Jahmyr Gibbs. Well, no, first of all, Jahmyr Gibbs is accounting for 80% of our offense. He's trying to do it by himself because no one else is helping him out. Jace McClellan did help out tonight, and I got to give props to Jace. Love Jace. I'm glad we finally start giving him touches and letting that dynamic duo start to form, and because that's a lethal combination. Love Jace, but Jace should have been running the ball late. Jace should have been running ball late in the game, but for whatever reason, we're going to throw those passes and put our kicker in a bad position. But real quick, because we have a Tennessee fan in the chat. First of all, hats off to Tennessee. Respect to the Big Orange.
Oh yeah, they won.
Congratulations. You know, this is a big deal for your program. And to be honest with you, I'm excited that both teams are relevant on a national picture again at the same
We said
time.
that early
It's
in the
great
week
for
though, Justin.
football. This
We said
that's
that
the
early in the week.
college football. College football is great when its historic teams are duking it out for supremacy, and that's what we saw tonight. So you're not going to get any negativity from us, GBO. So congratulations on your victory. Just do us a favor, and I think y'all got Georgia in 2 weeks. I believe it's 2 weeks. Go ahead and put them
Beat
down too.
Georgia.
Yeah,
Yeah, beat Georgia. That's what it really put me on y'all side as far as y'all being legit, because everybody shows up to play Bama for the past 7-8 years. Everybody shows up. Everybody shows up to play Bama. You have coaches who literally live to beat Bama. If they go 1-10 or 1-11 throughout the season, if they beat Bama, if that one win is against Bama, no matter what university it is across the nation, if they have that one win in their season and it's against Alabama, that coach is going to maintain his job. I don't care who you are. It could be Appalachian State. It could be JSU. It could be Prime at JSU. If JSU was to walk in and somehow pull a game out against Alabama, Prime's not going anywhere. They about to pay that man. The state of Mississippi is going to pay Prime to stay at JSU for beating Alabama and Nick Saban. So we're not going to discount we knew what Tennessee was coming in. I gave so much credit to Tennessee. I just, not based off of what they were actually doing, but if you go back and watch the games that they have been playing, schematically, Tennessee knows how to take advantage of mismatches, which every offense that's firing on all cylinders right now, that's what they're doing. Sarkisian at Ole Miss. Kiffin at Ole Miss, they're taking advantage of mismatches. Texas got beat today. I don't know what happened. Yeah, they did. Iowa State, again, like the Fox News analyst said, Iowa State is their daddy again, which was funny to me because literally they did not get out schemed. They just got outmanned today. But Sark is a master of making mismatches. Bill O'Brien has yet to expose a mismatch in any game, and he would start early, like even with Brooks and Holden. Why didn't we start if our passing game? If we were going to try to force the issue on our passing game, what happened to the quick hitches when you got corners playing 9 to 12 yards off of our DBs, and then when they do walk down and your wide receivers are beating them off the line, why are we not throwing it up to give them the chance for 50-50 balls or the chance to give a PI call? We got one pass interference call when we could have had maybe 5 or 6 if Bryce just gives the wide receiver a chance sometimes. So it's a lot of things about, and I think that goes into coaching too. Even with that, if I'm an OC, I'm like, Bryce, you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to do it by yourself every time. You don't have to extend the play. Give these wide receivers out of that third step, out of your third drop back. When you see a development, give them a chance to make their mistake. Give them a chance to make their play or make their mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Don't put it all on your back because you have the athletes. And Isaiah Bonds and Kobe Prentice, I cannot give them enough credit for what they did tonight. Isaiah Bonds, I mean, for the amount of drops he had early in the season as a freshman, you expect it, but he showed up tonight. Kobe Prentice the
Yeah,
same
they
way,
cleaned up.
and they were protecting the ball tonight. You saw that at least the offense did focus on one thing. We protected the ball tonight. That was one thing we could come away with positive. You could see that
Right.
those receivers were catching the ball and tucking it and protecting it, but still the scheme was nothing, extravagant to make Tennessee have to totally change what they were doing, because they did not change what they were doing. When they wanted to send pressure, they sent it. They didn't care if they got beat by it. They just kept doing it. They stuck with what they were doing, and we felt it make any changes.
Absolutely right. Before I get to some folks here in the chat, correction, Coach Mook. Texas did beat Iowa State 24-21.
Okay, they did pull it off, because when I left right before our game started, they was down, I think 21-18 or something like that, 21-16 or something like that. So
Gotcha. RJ
yep.
Walker, remember when Bama had elite defensive tackles and defensive ends not relying on linebackers for sacks? We lost the culture. Yeah, that's an excellent point, because if you watch the TDA post-game show, Marvin Constant made this point, and so did Mike McCoy and Bo Scarborough as well. People don't understand what it means to play for Alabama anymore. They don't understand what the culture is. They don't understand what the process means. It's more than just putting something on your Instagram with some cute little tagline and so, some edited image that you throw up there to make you look like a baller. Another thing is
Mm,
too, and this is a huge point. This is something I've been kind of mulling over the past several weeks and since the off season. The transfer portal culture. We are relying so heavily now upon that, and we get so excited because all these elite players are coming in the portal to us. But here's the thing: they don't understand us. They don't understand the culture of Alabama. They didn't come from programs where they're teaching the same things, the same schemes, the same thoughts, same ideas. It's different. And the other part of it is these guys have never played together. There's no continuity there. So
we
it's not going to really mesh very well. But yeah, they don't get what it means anymore. They don't understand the rivalry games. They definitely don't understand Alabama versus Tennessee, Auburn versus Alabama, so on and so forth. They don't understand the guys who paid the way before them. All they care about now is the NIL deal, getting to a team that they can supposedly get them in that first round draft pick discussion, and then also get about 10,000 likes and 1,000 followers on their Instagram or YouTube channel.
and it's crazy because I believe we touched on this before the season even started with the NIL. And you see guys literally out there. It was one play, Tim Smith, where the running back we had the guy stuffed. And you're one of the biggest players on the field. And you're sitting there watching 4 of your guys on your defense try to hold up a pile. And you're sitting there watching it instead of getting back in on it and trying to push that 8 or 9 players that's in it on the Tennessee. Like I think Marvin said it. You don't see guys really wanting to get dirty anymore. It's like
Mm-hmm.
everybody wants to play two-hand touch. Everybody wants to either make a big play or let me save myself for the next play because then I can make a big play the next play instead of just selling out for every play. And it's sad because as a fan, I want to see those Reuben Foster type hits. I want
Oh
to
yeah.
see those. I want to see those Eddie Jackson type reads at the safety. I want to see, um, those D Milner and those Minka Fitzpatrick type of reads on the edges on the perimeter. I want to see that, but those are gambles and those are things that are developed through, you know, the coaching that teach you, give you keys and stuff to read, and the players have to make their own personal decision to retain what's being taught. And a comment was made. Maybe it's time for Saban to let go of the DBs because Miami DBs didn't look bad last year when T-Rob was there.
Oh no.
They look, those guys were aggressive everywhere they were on the field, and those guys were left on islands majority of the season in the ACC, which tends to be more of a passing type, offenses that you face in that league. So at what point do we say, okay, Coach Saban, you either be the CEO or you be the CEO that manages, or you be the CEO that interjects? And when you interject, it needs to be felt. Like I need to see
Oh yeah.
Bill O'Brien frustrated because you're in his ear, like when you did Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian. I need to see Pete Golden frustrated when you used to go and chew out Kirk. I remember seeing Coach Saban and Kirby go edit on the sideline, and it wasn't a Kirby getting, trying to talk back to Coach Saban. It was a Kirby like, dang, coach, I know I'm trying to get these guys. And then Kirby would go and tear into his defensive line coach, his linebacker coach, his DB coach, and they would be on that sideline until the defense got back on the field. I remember seeing those guys tear into their personnel groupings, tear into them. I don't see that. I see so much discussion and the pads coming out and everybody shaking heads and shaking hands and it's okay, we'll get them next time. No, somebody has to step up and say, hey, we need to step it up. And if Will's energy can't be enough, where's the other guy? It can't just be all on one guy on each side of the ball. Like
Yeah,
I think
and we've gotten way too comfortable with putting everything on one guy. Yeah,
facts.
Will Anderson is the best player in the country, or at least top 3. Probably
I
going to
can't
be the number
expect
one
to
draft
be.
pick.
I can't
But the
expect
thing
Will to
is,
be a triple team every play.
he can't. He can't. Yeah, I mean, he's going to draw a lot of the attention. Okay, so someone should be getting freed up. Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, Henry Toa. Okay, Henry Toa, you've got a defensive line in front of you up until this game that's able to clear out a path for you, but you're not doing anything except tiptoeing and carrying and lowly
Hugging Henry.
hugging and gently lowering down like a mother putting a baby in a crib. I just we're relying too much on one person on both sides of the ball, Will Anderson and then Jahmyr Gibbs on the other side, and then but also Bryce Young. I mean, yes, Bryce Young is that dude, which allows me to segue to a couple of these comments here. Bryce Young is that dude, but help
He
the
is.
guy out. Don't waste his senior year. Do not waste his senior year. Help the guy out instead of putting it all on him. Matthew Pates is saying right here, can we talk about how on point Bryce's passes were? Wow. Was he really injured because he was throwing fire? Yes, I guarantee you he wasn't 100% tonight. But my gosh, that the ball placement and being able to escape just absolute mayhem and extending plays because he is that dude. And Caleb Stevens, they need to put some respect on Bryce's name and give him a flag when he gets hit late. Absolutely. Being clubbed to the head is not cool. Missing a lot of targeting penalties. Absolutely agree. But
Three
it's
targeting penalties. Three targeting penalties by the book. By the book. The way they wrote the rule. Leading with your helmet. I don't care if the intent was with the shoulder. If you drop your eyes, if your eyes are looking at the ground when you make contact to the head or neck area of the defenseless player, that is classified as targeting. And that happened to Bryce 2 times blatantly. One time we could go, either which way or which way, but 2 times it was blatant. And we didn't get not either one of those calls. And then you turn around and you give Ja'Cory Brooks, who great acting job on the pass interference call, but you give him that call, but you don't call the obvious. Like Ja'Cory Brooks, I commend you for the acting job. But he could have made a play then. He could have made a play then. He chose to play the acting job and it paid off. We got lucky. But when I talk about blatant calls being missed, and I'm not one to complain about the rest, because at the end of the day, I'm like what we said at the beginning of the game. We should never put it in the ref's hands to take it from us.
Absolutely.
When we had opportunities. And even before we continue to gripe and complain about what Bill O'Brien did, what didn't happen on defense, let's talk about the player discipline that's lacking on Alabama. This is the most undisciplined team. Understand? And we saw undisciplined last year. We saw undisciplined in 2019. Not 2020, but 2019. We saw undisciplined in 2018. But this year's team, I mean, is undisciplined. Who in the world told blocking man on special teams to ever try and recover a ball?
No kidding. And I don't mean to cut you off again, but somebody tried to argue about how you need to go teach these kids. No, that's not a teaching thing. That's something you learn in middle school. It's a live ball. Get the hell away from it. Or if you just insist on being in the play, lay on top of it. But he's a young guy, and Quandarius Robinson will figure it out, and I'm sure he's beating himself up over that tonight. But the thing is, that one play did not keep us from winning this game. It was several. It was a collective unit. It was 17 penalties, 52 points, getting out coached, being undisciplined, out physicaled, and just embarrassed in all phases of the game, and miscommunication all over the place. I'm sorry, that is not a recipe. That is not a recipe for success on any level. I don't care what level of athlete you have or how strong your recruiting class is. It's not going to work.
I'm gonna make some fans mad when I say this. The audacity of Alabama fans to criticize and say things as if we're spoiled or we don't like I said, I get on a lot of fans for crying, but a lot of times the game hasn't even started with a lot of these fans when they're complaining. The game hasn't even started.
Oh yeah.
Um, now you get into the third quarter and the fourth quarter where you see obvious adjustments, then you're gonna hear my mouth. That's when I'm saying stuff. So when we get to the point where these things are happening week by week consistently, I'm on your side now. Believe me, I'm on your side. But you can't go into a game expecting for these things to continue to happen because that's just not how Nick Saban has allowed us to think in these 15 or 16 years that he's been our head coach. He hasn't allowed us to think that way. It's been times where we've lost a game and we've looked our worst and we've lost close games, and then we turn it around and we look like a totally different team. So that's what I expected this week, being that we just snuck by Texas
Yeah.
A&M.
And this
That's
kind
what
of
I expected.
and this kind of showed shades of that Auburn game last year where we just played like absolute trash, but we found a way to win. And then the
Yes.
next week we come out against Georgia and we play Julius murder ball
Lights
again.
out.
And I was thinking, same thing's going to happen this week. And everybody was questioning whether or not Bryce Young would be able to go, and if he was able to go, to what level would he be effective? I think we got our answer. He threw for over 400 yards. His completion percentage, I can't think of what it was right now, but it was up there. He matched Hendon Hooker stride for stride. He did his thing, and I
Right.
expected fully for us to see kind of a repeat of what we did to Georgia in the SEC championship tonight. Not taking anything
Right.
away from Tennessee. Again, we do have some Tennessee fans in the chat. So first of all, thanks for jumping in. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate you being respectful, which I didn't get a lot of respectful Tennessee fans earlier, but you guys are cool. The real Hank says, hell of a game. Let's go Vols. Congratulations. Hats off to you guys. Y'all earned it. You did your thing. Hendon Hooker is definitely my winner of the Heisman until someone knocks him off that throne. I'm going to stand on that heel. You can't tell me the Ohio State's
hey, time out. Hooker, you doing great and everything, but Bryce is still that dude, man. I don't see
Well, I'm
why
not saying he's not that dude, but
missing a game because of an injury. That's the only thing I don't like about Heisman voters. Because I don't think they really watch football. You know what I'm saying? I think they go off of highlights. I think they go off of media hyperbole. And yes, the media is going to be like, Hendon Hooker took Alabama for 500. How many passing yards he had? Was it 400 passing yards or whatever it was? And this wide receiver, like, I think the media is going to blow that up, but they're not going to acknowledge that Bryce literally did the same thing with worse play calling in a more hostile environment because he had to do it in at away game. Bryce Young didn't have a turnover tonight. Bryce Young had 0 negative plays. He took 1 sack. 1 sack. Did he take it was 1 sack.
I don't know. Did he have a sack tonight?
No, as a matter of fact, no, he actually got the ball away. He didn't even take a sack tonight. So as far as executing and being that top tier quarterback, still putting up the same numbers. He didn't have, like I said, he didn't have an interception, and he made do with what he had to work with tonight. And I have to give the offensive line their credit because they gave up some plays, but they made big plays in the run game. They corrected a lot of things. I don't know why. Like I said, I'm not a Dalcourt fan. But I don't know why he came in the game.
I need somebody to clear that up, actually.
But when he came in, he didn't make no mistake. They didn't capitalize on him being in. I cannot sit there and say Dalcourt, there was a drop off when he came. I can't say that because when he came in, he wasn't put in a position to be exposed or anything. So like I said, Coach Saban, this coaching staff with the personnel groupings, especially on the defense side, why are we not seeing Christian Story or Malachi Moore at safety when Helms can literally be your cover linebacker? Like you can play dime and bring Helms in the box. He's a good tackle. He's a good run support. His coverage downfield is what kills him. It's not his coverage in the flats. It's not his ability to break on balls in the short, medium range game. It's his coverage downfield that makes him look horrible. And why, as a defensive coordinator, do I not say, okay, Moody is my physical linebacker. Let me leave him at the dime linebacker. Let me leave him as the spy. And then let me bring Helms in to be his second linebacker / our 6 DB. You get what I'm saying? Kind of like we
Yeah,
did
no, I get what you're saying.
with what's Major Wright little brother Daniel Wright last year. That's
Daniel,
where he thrived when we started putting him in the box and not making him cover downfield. That's when everybody's like, oh, he is a good safety. No, he was playing extended linebacker. He was playing jack linebacker. He was playing dime corner. Like he was down there in the box to where he didn't have to be exposed downfield.
yeah.
And where's that sense at? Where's that knowledge at? Where are we not taking advantage of these obvious changes that can be made?
James Knox has a question here. Pretty deep one. Has Coach Saban lost the it factor? And if so, can he still win one more natty? I think he can, but the thing is, he's going to have to change things dramatically. Like we talked about earlier, he's going to have to do some disruption amongst his coordinators. And one, get Bill out of his little fort on top of the stadium and on the field and start chewing their ass again. He's got to take the hands-on approach again. Yeah, I get it. He's 7 years old, and this is the point in his career where he should be the CEO and have the guys running the show for him, but they can't. They have not proven they can do it. But if we're going to win another national championship, he's going to have to take the reins again, get down in the dirt with them, and get us back to playing to the Bama standard. Now, SPH Huntsville says our secondary is getting worse. Okay, can I say this, Coach Smoot?
Go ahead.
Were they really good to begin with? Now, I will say Kool-Aid is getting tremendously better each game. You didn't hear his name tonight, except for when his interception got called back because of holding due to someone else. But you didn't hear his name in a negative way the entire night because he had his side locked down. We had no problems from him. But I think that a lot of the praise that our secondary is drawing right now is because we have not played an offensive unit that is worth their weight in gold like Tennessee was tonight. We got exposed. They're not at that level yet. I will say that Jordan Battle's performance has kind of taken a dip. I thought that he would be having a better year thus far. I really don't know what all is going on with him. I mean, is he having to make up for other people's mistakes? Is he trying to be like Xavier McKinney was?
Exactly. I was literally
for
my mouth.
couple years
I don't know
ago.
if you saw my mouth like Xavier McKinney. That's all I see in Jordan Battle.
Because,
I see Xavier McKinney.
2019, Xavier McKinney really had to make up for a lot of people's mistakes and then try to play his position as well. And that's a hard ask for anybody. So is that kind of where Jordan Battle is right now? That's something that we definitely need to take a look at. But is our secondary getting worse? I just don't think we were tested until tonight. We were tested against Texas until Quinn Ewers went down. Mm-hmm. But as a whole, we hadn't had the right competition yet.
And I go back to play calling, not just on the defense, but offensive side. And me and Sean from Huntsville, we were saying it. You don't continue to put your secondary or your defense as a whole in positions to where they have to continue to get exposed when you have an offense that was literally moving the ball at will. You can slow the ball, you can slow the game down by managing the clock and holding on to the ball. Bill O'Brien gave up way too much time on that last drive. My thing is, we snapped the ball on third and 7. We snapped the ball with 11 seconds left on the play clock, and it was under a minute left in the fourth quarter. We snapped the ball with 11 seconds on the play clock. So even if you run that play with 1 second on the play clock, you still dropping the game clock down 10 more seconds, and then you got to play where it's going to last at least 2 to 3 seconds. If it's a run or if it's a pass, it's still going to last 2 to 3 more seconds. If it's a run, that's 8 seconds because you got to think 3 seconds with the run. If they don't call a timeout, it's going to be another 5-second runoff to our players getting up to the ball to spike it and to set up for the field goal, which would have left 6 seconds on the clock. They can't do nothing. They can't do that. We going to overtime at worst. At worst, we going to overtime.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So
That makes a lot
and
of sense.
and like he said, when he say worse, it means as if they don't know how to play the deep ball. I have to give you so much 100%. We were speaking the same language throughout the chat tonight. Me and Sean from Huntsville, because it was even the Malachi Moore play, the wide receiver is pushing him too. You know, but Malachi Moore, you have to turn around and play the ball. Let him push you. Turn your head, your helmet. You don't even have to look for the ball. Look backwards towards the quarterback in the air. That's what we told our DBs, because I had DBs that was getting cooked. If you have the guy, the ball is in the air, he's looking up, you turn around and look too. Keep running. Turn around and look too. You know, and that gives you a chance. It's like the simple things aren't being applied in heat of the moment. And these guys, even in 7-on-7, man, like I see more physical play in 7-on-7 than I see from our corners, at points. Kool-Aid didn't get tested tonight. You want to know why? Because there was no need to test Kool-Aid when you had Arnold getting mixed up off the switch release the whole night. Arnold and Helms. Anytime they had the responsibility, Arnold, Helms, and Branch, anytime they had the responsibility of exchanging that switch release and manipulating the tight end or the middle of the seam, the hash, they were getting mixed up. And the easiest way to fix that is match zone too high, match zone underneath. That's the easiest way. And you learn that day one, spring training. You go over your basic coverages, cover 2, cover 3. Man, you go over those basic coverages. Day one, spring practice. Before you start hitting or anything, you're doing all these walkthroughs with these basic coverages, these basic concepts of our defense. Sometimes basic is your most effective. That's what happened last year with Bama. That Auburn game, when we went basic with our defense, that's when those guys were able to fly to the ball off of the run. They were able to keep everything in front of them. They were able to sit on the quick routes. They were able to sit on the slants or break on the slants. Inside, the safeties were playing over top 12 to 15 yards deep, not walking inside 10 yards trying to play to help with the run. Like, keep everything in front of you and let the red zone and the perimeter and the boundaries, sidelines, the back of the end zone, let those be your extra defenders. Because when you're in the red zone, it's not 11 men on the field. Guess how many men on the field? You got 2 sidelines. That gives you 13. You got the back of the end zone. That's another. You got 15 defenders on the field when you're in the red zone and you're executing a zone or a match zone to max ability. I'm not a college coach, man, but I guarantee you, anybody in this chat or anybody that's ever played football knows that concept. Why is Alabama not applying this? I don't care if you got 5-star athletes. Them 5 stars don't mean nothing when you got a Tennessee team that's ready to take your head off and give you their best game. And they didn't call no crazy play. Not one trick play tonight. Not one trick play.
At all.
Tennessee
They
didn't
just
run
beat
a
them
trick
straight
play.
up. Got to address this comment here. William Roberts. Reichard isn't focusing on his kicking. Listen, I got to come to his defense. Has he missed field goals here in this past game and then last week? Yeah, he has. But it's not because he has lack of focus. He actually is the best kicker in the nation. There's no question about that. But were we actually putting him in the best of positions? Were we actually putting him at a good advantage on the field to where he can make a field goal?
Who said I want to come for you?
Straight up the middle, or not taking a loss like last week, taking losses, getting backed up, making him kick at an angle for a long distance, and then this game too. Why were we not running the ball up the middle to try? We were getting that push. Jahmyr Gibbs and Jace McClellan were getting that push. Tennessee's defensive front to stop them at that point. They weren't able to. But we want to throw passes all over the place. Run it up the middle, get 3 and 4 yards a pop, inch closer to that first down boundary, and chances are you're probably going to get it. But at worst, you've given Will Reichard better position and a shorter distance to kick. Yeah, he does have to make big time field goals. I get you. I understand that, but also set him up nicely.
Listen, look at these stats, Justin. You got Jahmyr Gibbs with 24 carries, right? Averaging 4.3 yards per carry, right? You got Jace McClellan, who only had 3 carries. All 3 of his carries, he's averaging 5 yards. That means with just between those 2 guys, that they the only ones had carries other than the four that Bryce Young had where he was trying to extend play. But you had two backs that you were giving all your carries to. At what point do you say if Jason's giving me 5 yards a pop, Jameer's giving me 4 yards a pop, how many yards does it take to get a first down? If I give Jace one run and I give Jameer 2 runs in a drive and they're sticking to their averages, we're playing the numbers game. We have 2 first downs on that last drive. And that's up the middle. I can't wait to rewatch the game because I'm the type of guy that goes back and I'm like, okay, he got 8 yards up the middle. This time he had 3 yards on the edge each time he ran it to the edge, or 7 yards on the edge, whatever. I'm that type of guy that goes in and looks at that. So what forces the offensive coordinator to go away from what is being effective? They hadn't stopped it at all. They hadn't stopped the run game. We were getting our three a pop. As a run game, we want 3+ yards a carry. Because you can get 3-4 yards a carry. If you run the ball 3 times on a carry, you on a drive, you get 3 to 4 yards, you got a first down. Why did we not do that up the middle? Their safeties were still playing safe the whole time. They never filled the box. We were literally taking advantage of the numbers inside. Why did we go away from it? It goes back to coaching, guys. I'm telling you. And I'm not one. Y'all know me. I was the one to defend Bill O'Brien all last season. Give him some time. He has athletes. He's going to learn. He's transitioning from NFL to college. No, this guy cannot see the obvious.
Nope.
I'm a high school coach. I know if my run game is what's effective for me right now, and my wide receivers are dropping easy passes, and my O-line is handling their job on the run plays, I'm going to continue to run until they show me otherwise that they can stop it. It doesn't change. You see NFL offensive coordinators that will run the ball 11, 12 times on a drive and just milk the clock. Why is Bill O'Brien not in the NFL no more? Because he can't manage, nor can he call the offensive game. And it's showing here at Bama. And we just so happen to have athletes that can cover up his mistakes, being Bryce Young, being Jameer Gibbs, being a Cameron too when he catches the ball, being I can't even call a wide receiver because Ja'Cory Brooks, because he's our most consistent clutch receiver. Regardless of what he does early in the game, Ja'Cory Brooks comes up big for us in the most clutch times. And like I said, I'm on that bus. I got the keys. I'm driving that get Bill O'Brien out of here bus. I am speeding down 85 right now, trying to get him, or up 85, 75, whatever the highway is, to get him to Nebraska or wherever, whoever want to hire him as a head coach. I will help him. Sign me up to help him pack his stuff. Sign me up. I don't have a moving service. I will do it for free. Coach Saban, I will help pack his stuff. I will drive him safely to wherever his next destination is, because this guy's not it for Bama football. All the talent we have, especially at the wide receivers, I don't think these position coaches have control over their personnel rotation either, because I think Wiggins wanted to play his young guys more tonight. The way that they were performing, Wiggins 2 years ago would play those young guys.
Oh, without question. Tennessee Royalty says Tennessee beat Alabama capitalizing on stupid mistakes. Hey, absolutely.
Facts.
That's the difference in the game. 17 penalties. Like we said it over and over again, and we maybe sound like a broken record, but that's been one of Alabama's Achilles' heels these past several seasons.
21 points. 21 points came in them being in plus territory to start their drive. 21 points in the first half. And mind you, what did we come in the second half? What was the score when we started the third quarter?
28-20.
And we gave up 21 points in plus territory in the first half. So imagine if we don't give those guys plus territory for 3 drives in the first half. Imagine if we give our defense a chance to defend the whole field and make them expose whatever they had to expose. Imagine if we just chance it. You get what I'm saying? Like, chance it by good offensive play calling, and just discipline, not jumping off sides, not anticipating a snap as a wide receiver. My thing is, and this is another thing, and I'm not going to gripe about anything else. And Mike and Bo and Marvin, they all said it. It was a time where if you made a mistake on the field, you regretted it because you knew you either wasn't going to get back on the field or you was going to have to pay for it at practice. I don't see that fear or that respect for the game in this day and age of Alabama football. I see guys making mistakes and walking back to their spot on defense instead of hustling back. I see like the offense coming out. I remember when we started a game in college. We weren't the best offensive team at Faulkner University. But when we offense had to go on the field, everybody sprint on the field. I'm talking about full out sprint to your spot. First play, because everybody knew what the first play was. No matter what the defense was calling, we had our first play of the drive every time we went out. And if you didn't sprint in practice, you weren't going to get no reps in the game.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Because in the game, we sprint to the line, off of the sideline. Coach would call the play in the huddle on the sideline. There was no talking when we got in on the field. It was literally sprint to your spot, line up. And we wanted the ball snapped. From the time the ref blew the whistle, set the ball and blew the whistle, we wanted the ball snapped in 7 seconds. That's all like small things that Alabama used to capitalize on. Even on the defense. The defense used to be lined up before the offense. The defense used to be calling out stuff as they was coming out the huddle. That's my man. That's my man. You don't see that now in Alabama defense. Everything's pretty. All these new hand signals. Yeah. Toa want to be the choir director and hug people and stuff. Like,
just loves that. That's
oh
gosh. Speaking of talking, let's get to some of these chats here. Bama Tide. No one on this site listens to anyone. Again, Saban is at the end of his career, and he isn't going to make waves at 70. At some point, you lose your edge.
Hey, it's nature of the beast, man.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
Father Time undefeated. Father Time undefeated.
If you really want to break it down, this kind of resembles the later part of Coach Bryant's tenure.
Yeah.
He won a couple of championships, I think 78, 79, and then kind of teetered a little bit. His last couple of years, was still in a national championship picture, but didn't win them. So things, I agree. I mean, we have to call it what it is. FGH Huntsville, we gave Tennessee a short field 3 times. That definitely plays a huge deal. Random hero. Bill has always had elite quarterbacks. He coached Brady and Watson, and now Bryce. Kiffin or Sark would have smoked A&M with Milroe. O'Brien confirmed to us who he really was last week. There's a lot of facts right there.
Clip that. That is the one. That is the one comment. If I don't agree with any other comment tonight, Justin, I said this so much last week. Kiffin and Sarkisian, honestly, I believe they would love to have Bryce. They would love to have Bryce. But Milroe, they would make that guy look like Lamar Jackson 2.0 against any team. And I ain't saying pull Bryce. But where's your creativity, Bill O'Brien?
It doesn't exist. Here's what would have happened under Lane Kiffin and Steve Sarkisian. Similar to what happened with Jalen Hurts when he first arrived. They would have adapted their playbooks to what he could do. They would simplify it, and as he became more comfortable, they would introduce new schemes and play calling, and then be able to do a whole lot more. Bill O'Brien doesn't get that. He's over there throwing Jalen Milroe to the wolves and trying to get him to execute Bryce Young's offense when he wasn't ready for it.
Right.
I guarantee you give Lane Kiffin or Steve Sarkisian Milroe, man, they would have been light of the field.
Loxley made Tua look so awesome his first year. Like, I don't think people remember that's who Tua had his first year, Mike Loxley. Like, I think people forget that Mike Loxley was the OC that really carried on what Kiffin started. Mike Loxley took it to the next level by implementing the wide receiver route concepts that we are trying to see, that we are seeing today, or that what we are used to seeing, but we're not seeing today. And I see a comment by Marcus Stanley, Saban losing his edge. That's hilarious. Bama has lost tough games before. A few years ago, we lost to Ole Miss, Texas A&M with Manziel in 2019 LSU team. You want me to tell you the difference between now and then? We had coordinators that we could trust in. We literally were
right. Absolutely right.
These coordinators back then, it was literally when we lost to Ole Miss that year, we had a running back playing quarterback. and or no, the Coker and Bateman year when we had Kiffin. You know, we had a quarterback controversy going into that, so you didn't know what to expect as far as our quarterbacks. We know what we have at quarterback. We know what we have as personnel. And our offensive coordinator doesn't seem to know that. You know, our defensive coordinator doesn't seem to know what he has as personnel. You know, and any what makes a great coordinator is the ability to scheme with what you have available. You don't go and try to make a system fit players. You create a system that fits your players. You don't make players fit a system. You make system, because it used to be where you made players fit your system, but that's not the way of the game no more. The game has evolved, you know,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
it's coaches out there that's doing exactly what I said, creating systems that fit their players' best suits, their strengths, and hides their weaknesses. We didn't get to see how weak Tennessee's offensive line was because guess what? Josh Heupel and that offensive coordinator, they didn't allow it. They schemed to where Hendon Hooker was able to be comfortable in positions where 1, 2, 3, I'm getting the ball out. Or 1, 2, 3, let me test this DB because I know he's one-on-one on that side because of the motion that we created before the snap, the pre-snap read. We literally are motioning to give us the read that we want because they have a defensive coordinator that's not going to change, you know, his style of calling a defense. If we motion, I believe if they were sending those slot motions across the formation, and Josh Heupel see 2 safeties drop back and we go into base coverage, I don't see the same play caller happen the whole game. You want me to tell you why? Because whatever they were motioning into, they were literally running to the zone that they would be forced into play. Our defense would be forced into playing the match zone that we'd be forced into playing off of the motion. So it's just simple things like that I just can't believe college coordinators cannot recognize.
Right. Tyrone Smith, is Stetson Bennett the face of the SEC? And get out of here with
Heck
that.
no.
Dexter
Come on,
Wright,
bro.
Saban doesn't lose his edge. He just has great value coordinators. That's the quote of the night. I said he got
Facts.
him off. I said he got him off of Craigslist, but I mean,
Them jokers piggly wiggly.
they're Piggly Wiggly. They're Save a Lot.
Yes, sir. Oh, I ain't seen Save a Lot in so long. I think the last Save a Lot I seen was in Montgomery on the west side, and we know how the west side of Montgomery look. So let's go, man.
David Harmon, absolutely. Bryce Young makes Bill O'Brien look better than he is. We have touched on that earlier in the show. Yeah, Bryce Young. Bill O'Brien did not make Bryce Young. Bryce Young made Bill O'Brien.
Caleb Stevens. I like what Caleb Stevens says, man. Anyone besides Bill I say you got young guys like Holman Wiggins sitting on the sideline coaching your wide receivers. You know, give him a chance. You know, if it's coming to the point where we really got to get rid of Bill, and I think we overreact in the heat of the moment sometimes, but a lot of what we're saying in the heat of the moment has validity. So at some point, do we create that narrative as a university to move Bill O'Brien in the middle of the season? I don't think we do it. That's not Saban's style. That's not what he's going to do. But do we begin to see like I'm not gonna lie, Justin. Second quarter, I don't believe Bill O'Brien was calling plays in the second quarter. Third quarter, I don't believe Bill O'Brien was calling plays early in the third quarter because that offense, the style of play, the check downs that were being hit, the quick outs, the slants and everything that was being hit, that's not Bill O'Brien play calling. Can't be. No way. We haven't seen that until just now. That had to be like Saban being like, hey, let's simplify it. And then I believe he got comfortable and was like, okay, Bill, you got it now. Good job, buddy. You're learning. Let me see.
Got a couple of good points here. Matthew Pate, Clemson, USC, and Ohio State are probably not losing. That's true. What happens if Georgia wins out, but Bama beats them in the championship? Where does Tennessee stand? Well, that's a good question. I mean, you're going to have controversy right there because if Tennessee just has one loss and Georgia's undefeated, and now Alabama beats Georgia. If we beat Georgia, I get, but yeah, because here's the thing: if Georgia beats Tennessee outright, then they win the tiebreaker. That means Georgia and Alabama go to the playoff.
Right. It would be
if Alabama wins out, but I'm not going to start talking about SEC championships or playoffs right now. I'm concerned about Mississippi State. That's after what I saw today. Mississippi State scares me. Here. Brittany B.
And,
Bill O'Brien coaching like Red Bull U from Waterboy. If it ain't in the playbook, the notebook, he's not calling it. Mr. Coach Klein.
he go play with coach. But hey, you were right on, Brittany. When I say I wanted to literally
you got your manhood
pull out.
back. Sorry.
I wanted to pull out the NCAA game and just like literally we can go back to NCAA for 2014 and get better results than what Bill O'Brien is producing right now. The plays and the stuff on NCAA will get us better results than what Bill is doing right now.
Amen.
Every time I see a bubble screen, I want to change the channel. I don't think we scored on it, and I can barely think we've got more than 5 first down. You want me to tell you what's the
I don't
problem
even
with-
think we got more than one positive yardage out of that, because every time he calls that damn play, we're always losing yards. So why in the world are we still calling?
Why are you
that's my
putting
biggest gripe about
your
him.
finesse receivers to block? You have
That's the thing.
finesse receivers who aren't dirty trying to block. What are they doing?
It's a kindergarten playbook. I need to get a specialist in the playbook. Let's see.
They going crazy right now.
If we win the SEC championship, should we be in the conversation for the college football playoffs? If we win the rest of our games and we win the SEC championship, yeah, absolutely, we got to be in the conversation. So I mean, yeah, it's still there for us, but we got a lot of work to do before we start talking about playoffs and SEC championships and all that in between. So, but we've been on here for about an hour and 16 minutes. We've had a lot of people running strong in this chat, so we definitely appreciate you.
I love it. I appreciate it for real, y'all. I appreciate y'all supporting Justin and what he's doing over here, man, because this is the forum I know fans appreciate, Justin, and that's why whenever you invite me, I'm not reluctant. I'm very excited and happy to get on here because I know I get a lot of flack in it. I get a lot of bad feedback in the chat when I'm speaking the truth, and to come on here and to put a face to the voice, I think people understand what I'm saying when I'm actually, we have the opportunity on the floor to really vocalize what we're trying to type, because in the heat of the moment during the game, we're reacting off of what's happening in that moment, not looking at the full spectrum of what's happening as fans. But I think a lot of us who have played the game and who do coach at a certain level and understand football, we're commenting from that standpoint, and I get to see both sides of the spectrum. And I appreciate fans that talk trash and, come at me and that agree with me. And, it's great for a fan base to be able to bounce these type of thoughts and emotions off each other, because that's part of the passion of the game. The game isn't just on the field. We make up the game just as much as the players do, And I appreciate you guys sticking it out and giving your thoughts and everything. Who can do what Saban do and still be successful? Nobody. That's what makes it so hard for him not to be producing right now. That's really why we can complain, because you can't set a standard. You can't be great and then settle for mediocrity and then expect us to say, okay, mediocrity is the new great. No, we've seen greatness for the past since 2008. We've seen greatness since 2008.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was at Alabama in one of the worst times. I was there from 1999 through 2003. We got jazzed because we went to the Independence Bowl. We're not reverting back to that. I'm sorry.
We can't.
We're not going to take a step back and just accept anything, because we've already been at the highest of highs. So why would anything less than that be substantial enough for us? It's not. Mississippi State has scored 3 points in the first half. Scares you. Listen,
the transitive property is not
what Mississippi State is showing tonight does not indicate. What Mississippi State is showing tonight is not indicative of what the overall picture looks like, because first of all, they're playing one of the top defenses in SEC. But overall, they have been balling out this year, with the exception of LSU when they did some things to beat themselves. And they had dropped passes, but we're not going to get into Mississippi State. But other than that, they've been balling out. And they just came off 2 big wins where they just shattered the defenses they went up against. So they're kind of due for that lull game. So yeah, I'm not going
Mhm.
to buy into this as the finished product for Mississippi State.
So one thing I want to touch on before we start wrapping it up is we have to remember that every year that Alabama has been at its peak, if I want to say that, or they have come out with, just complete turnarounds. It's been years where we've had losses like this. We think back to the Johnny Manziel A&M loss. We think back to the Ole Miss losses 2 years back to back. Like those type of years, where we've seen that following week where teams either come out and we have a complete turnaround, or we come out and we have the same results and barely get by, and we end up losing the big ones in the end. I feel like that this week coming up, excuse me, this week coming up is going to be that determining factor. I can't say how we're going to do now. I don't want to be that fan coach that says, that makes this prediction, because honestly, I've seen enough this year to just not want to predict anything. I just live with what happens on the field. From like this week, I said if Alabama comes out physical and focused, we beat Tennessee by 14. If Alabama comes out playing to Tennessee's level, playing into their hands, penalties and all that stuff, we are going to win a close game. We were supposed to win this game. We run the ball up the middle, we win a close game. On the last drive, we run the ball up the middle, we win a close game. Riker's
Yeah,
kick was long enough. Where did he kick the ball from? The right hash. Where was he off at? On the right of the goalpost. Like, it's one of them things where he literally lined it up, kicked a straight kick from the right hash, missing it on the right of the goalpost. That's generally a straight kick. You put him in the middle, he doesn't miss that kick.
I agree. Yeah,
Hypothetically, you get
yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah, we talked about that, and we talked about this earlier.
I'm scratching my head. Look,
Where
Sean,
does
you
the
got me scratching my head.
where does the team go from here? In the past, if we run into a situation like this, it pissed us off, it got us angry, got us right, and God have mercy on the souls of the people that went up against us after that loss. Now we got different attitudes. We got NIL. There's not a lot of the same focuses. So, what Alabama team is going to show up after this kind of a loss? Do they get their crap together and go back to playing pissed off for greatness, or do we give a lot of lip service and lose a couple more games that we probably shouldn't lose? And we're sitting here at the Citrus Bowl come January.
Did you see the Tennessee tight end? I think when he caught the touchdown pass, I know Steven and the guys posted the Henry Toa hype video with him talking about strictly business, doing the little put my tie on celebration move. Did you see the Tennessee
Yeah,
player on the sideline saying it's strictly business? Like that, to me, that was ultimate. Like, okay, nobody respects Bama defense. Nobody respects the Bama standard. Nobody respects the Bama brand, because these guys are literally mocking us. Wide receivers catching the ball, getting first downs, doing all wide receiver celebration stuff. Like, it's funny to me that the players will see this happening in front of their eyes and don't take that pride. Ms. Zizou, you said it, and me and Justin, we every analyst I believe that was talking about the game said we need to control the ball. We controlled the ball, but play calling in clutch moments, just like you said, play calling in those clutch moments. You can't give up 52 points and your offense is still controlling the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, at what point, like Steven from Huntsville said, at what point do we stop putting these safeties in cover situations to have a one-on-one assignment? I don't care if the tight end runs a 4.6, 4.7. Our safeties cannot cover, because if they play a physical tight end, guess what they're going to do? They're going to play soft off of them. They're going to shoot string tackle. If they play athletic tight end, they're going to overplay it. They're going to get beat deep. They're going to try to run support when they don't need to be run supported. So at what point do we say, okay, safeties, your responsibility is keep everything in front of you?
No doubt, no doubt. And we're going to hit a few more comments, then we're going to start closing up shop. Brandon,
Yes,
we
sir.
said that these games were supposed to wake them up last season, and it's the same thing this season. At some point, it's just who this team is and who this staff is. Absolutely.
Absolutely right.
Let's see. And gotta give a shout out to Logan Keating. Said thank you for the birthday wishes. Yesterday was his birthday. Shout out to
Yeah,
him
big
again.
Logan.
Turned 18. If y'all are not familiar with his story, he's going through a lot right now. He has a
I
rare
thought
heart
Logan.
condition, and he is spending the majority of his days in the hospital. But he is cheering for Alabama louder than anybody in the country right now from his hospital bed, and he nearly pulled this victory off tonight. So we appreciate that.
Big
Guy also
Logan,
give a
man.
shout in relation to that. Gotta give a shout out to my guy Brody Kroll. Reached out to him and told him that it was his birthday. Brody Kroll called him and spent some time with him and
Wow.
prayed for him while I have him on the phone. So that speaks volumes of Brody Kroll
That's
and
awesome.
what he's about. But hey, Logan, man, this is your birthday weekend. Your birthday isn't just on a Friday; it's the entire weekend. I just wish we could have pulled off the victory night tonight for you.
Facts.
But listen, it's time to start closing things off. I think I've calmed down a little bit, but I'm still a little bit bitter. But Coach Smoot,
I don't
before
think
we
it's set in. I don't think it's set in that we really lost yet. Like I'm still sitting here like, okay, like we had this game, but we lost. Like it's crazy, but you're right.
yeah, I'm at the point now. Yeah, we lost and to Tennessee of all people. No knock against any Tennessee fans who are still here. Got respect, but you're our most bitter rival. For the old heads that are watching, understand that. I'd rather lose to Tennessee than Auburn. I mean, I'd rather lose to Auburn than Tennessee, but I don't want to lose to Auburn at all. So, but yeah, so this one does sting a little bit. But right now, 24-hour rule, we can be upset for tonight, but tomorrow we got to start working on that grind. The rest of the gauntlet remains. Mississippi State next week. We got the bye week to kind of push the reset button, but then it's on the road to Baton Rouge. I don't care what LSU looks like right now. Anytime you play LSU at LSU, it's always going to be crazy. Doesn't matter what they look like, and I guarantee you they're going to put it at night. So if we're playing LSU and Baton Rouge at night, all the voodoo comes out. So it's not going to be a guaranteed victory. And after that, it's the trip to Oxford. So we got our work cut out for us. Yes, our
LSU just
goal.
put up 45 on Florida today. So
Oh, well,
like
hey, there you go. The LSU's not the homecoming opponent that everybody wants us to believe that they are.
right.
Alabama's got a lot of work to do. Can they do it? Absolutely. But it remains to be seen. One week season. Just get ready for the next one. But Coach Moog, I'm going to turn it over to you right now. If you would, man, pop yourself, what you got going on, how folks can find you and be a part of the fan club.
Man, let me tell y'all just come check me out. YouTube is about to get real active. I'm real big on my gaming content, but I've been having a lot of haters come through on my gaming channel, talking trash about Bama football, which is awesome because it's getting me followers. I'm a realist before a Bama fan, a
Let me
football
say
fan
something real
before.
quick. They may be coming on there and hating on you, but also they do it on here. But the way I see it is, if you're coming on our channels and hating on us, that means you're watching our stuff,
Yes, I
and
love it.
that
I
means that
appreciate you.
means you're supporting our content and you're giving us views. So that actually helps us win. But go ahead.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying I love it because it creates for great content, especially when you take a standpoint like most of us take on this panel. When you talk about the guys that come on Bama Standard, the guys that come on TDA, like we believe in our team, but we're realists at the end of the day. And every problem that you guys in the comments have exposed, we've been talking about it. So definitely check me out on YouTube at Coach Smoot. I'm on TikTok live every day, and Facebook gaming. So check me out. And Coach's Corner, we have a lot of pre-recorded things that we have yet to post. I'm trying to tie it in with a couple of other fan bases that have high school coaches and fan coaches like myself, to where we're going to bounce it off each other. A couple of Georgia fans, South Carolina, Tennessee, North Carolina, Florida State. It's a lot of team fan coach guys that are out there that I talk to. So be looking out for that content. It won't be anything live. It'll just be clips and things posted for you all to comment with. And of course, continue to support Justin and the Bama Standard TDA, everything that's going on here, guys. When I say this Bama content is legit and always on point when talking about up to date news, inside scoops with recruiting, everything. These guys are on it, and they're not the ones that are doing the extra stuff to get the recognition. They're just being real people, and they will connect with you as the typical fan. And that's what made me start watching these guys. So I appreciate this, Justin. And man, just keep on doing what you're doing, brother.
Well, first of all, you act like you're just a guest, but you're not a guest. You're actually a co-host. Please understand that we are the face of the Bama post game after it happens. Coach Smook and I are leading the charge on the Bama Standard post game. Yes, you
Humble
can
fan.
catch the regular crew on Tuesday nights on Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, with me, former Alabama linebacker Marvin Constant, former Alabama running back Bo Scarborough, comedy legend Steve Brown, and senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, Stephen M. Smith. We are not politically correct. We don't wear top hats, and we don't play nice. So if you're coming there expecting us to sugarcoat things and not give you hard truth, then chances are you're probably going to get your feelings hurt and you're going to get mad. And especially when I say things like Walmart Bama fans.
Oh Lord.
But you definitely want to check us out. We're going to give you 9% nonsense, locker room talk. We're joking on each other. We're also going to give you inside analysis, especially from the guys who played the game. So we're actually doing something a little bit different. But best part about us is, other than the things I just named, we also have legends on every week as our guests to tell their stories, give their insight, and also share some things that you maybe didn't know. But listen, all you people who are watching right now, before you leave on out, I want y'all to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. First of all, thank you to all the people who are supporting this channel aside from TDA. We finally got over 1,000 subscribers, and we did this under a 3-month period. That's a pretty big deal, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. So thank you. But yeah, check us out. We'll be back live again this Tuesday night, and then next weekend after Alabama plays Mississippi State, you'll see Coach Smook and I breaking things down, and hopefully with a happier outcome. But
I think we turn around, Justin. Honestly, man, as bad as it feels tonight, 52 points. We thought Texas was that game. I think this was that game, bro. Like, I feel like this is the one where when Coach Saban goes back and looks at this, he's disgusted with himself. And we know how Coach Saban on fire retaliates, how he responds. So let's just hope. Let's hope and pray that that's the Coach Saban that we get this coming up week and going into the bye week. I just hope and pray that we can get that Coach Saban back. That 2015, 2016 Coach Saban, that 2009, 2010 Coach Saban, 2011 Coach Saban. If we can get that Coach Saban back this week, we'll be in good shape.
I got you. Before I sign off the chat, I'm through with y'all. Caleb Stevens, Walmart Bama fans. Let me explain what that is. First of all, I'm not putting down anybody who goes to Walmart or the blue collar working class. I'm talking about the 85% of Bama fans who just line up to get the championship T-shirts after we won the championship, who don't really understand the game of football. That's what I mean by that. Vicky Taylor, yeah, go Big Orange. Again, we're giving nothing but props and respect to Tennessee tonight. We're not going to be those group of people who make things bad for everybody else. So kudos to you guys. Enjoy the victory. And all we ask from y'all is do the same thing to Georgia. Mitch, I guess that's better than a Tennessee Dollar General Store fans.
But let me tell you, I have never seen that many Tennessee fans on my Facebook page ever. I didn't know,
or in my channel,
bro. Ever. Bama's lost big games before. I've never seen a Tennessee fan show up in any Bama chat or on any Bama post, but all of a sudden, all these Tennessee fans and I could say I didn't see a lot of Alabama fans in 2002, 2003, even though social media wasn't big then. I didn't see a lot of Bama fans when I first came back home, down to the South. So yeah, it's just the way of the world. the way of this college football life.
You didn't see him on your MySpace?
I didn't even have MySpace at 12 and 13. Well, actually, I did, but we were talking more NBA and NFL back then. College football, it was, and then we got to think too. When people talk about fandom, college football didn't have the exposure back then like it does now. It's on a different level now. So
you're right on that.
It is what it is.
Well, we got to head on out. Great show as always, Coach Smook. I enjoyed it. For the people in the chat, thanks for sticking with us for an hour and a half and not.
And I mean, they stuck with us.
Y'all really. Hey, but please hit the like button and hit that subscribe button. It helps us out tremendously. But thank y'all again. Until next week, roll tide, folks.
Roll tide, baby.